that I just formulating, and I'm trying to understand. And I call myself a spiritual scientist. And what I mean by spiritual science don't really take the time to really evaluate the spirit from a scientific standpoint. And the thing is, they try to explain all these phenomenon, and what science does is effectively the observation of nature, right? Because we're all, in a sense, in nature. And I believe science have done us a disservice, or has done a service they're not qualified to do, they're unable to do. Science don't explain the things like the soul. Science don't explain things that are phenomenons that are here. I think science's disposition for life is to be led in the observation of things. This is what we see, this is what we notice, and this is the effects of what we see and notice. But some people try to champion science as a form of authority on the phenomenons of the spirit. And the closest thing I can call science, quantum physics. So what is quantum physics? Quantum physics is the study of matter and energy at the most fundamental level. It aims to uncover properties and behaviors of very, very building blocks of humanity, society. It's a form of measurement, right? So when I'm talking about quantum physics and I'm talking about the spiritual world, I say that science basically closest relationship to the spiritual science or the spiritual world would be quantum physics. Because what is energy? Energy is not necessarily seen, at least with the bare eye, but it's there. God isn't necessarily seen with the bare eye, but we can see evidence, right? Like the wind, we can see evidence of the wind. We can see evidence of energy. We can see evidence of these particle things. You know, this force and energy. Think about it. What is electricity? You ever seen lightning? So it's just the evidence of things, right? What is really lightning? If you want to break it down, it's energy. What is really energy? Matter. What is really matter? All right, then we go on and forward. We can go deeper. So I consider myself as a spiritual scientist, meaning that I am very interested in the phenomenons of things like the things that people ask why, and it doesn't make sense, right? Or the things that people go through that we necessarily don't know why we go through this, like the gut instinct. You might have maybe 1 million people that can literally right now tell you, average everyday people, whether it's spiritual, non-spiritual, secular people, religious people, even children, animals, they have this thing called instinct, right? Gut feelings, instincts. They have the phenomenon, he knows when he knows, that's the woman, and things like that. And people try to say evolution, and these things don't explain it still. If science is the observation of things, we're observing something happening. And just because you can break down what you just saw doesn't mean that is the purpose of it. What is the purpose of it? And we can come to conclusions on certain things like, okay, the wings and the feathers serve this purpose based off our personal, limited, finite understanding of what we think it means. And we all come to consensus about those things to determine if that's what we think it means. We think that feathers are there particularly to help you fly. That's what we observe, but who knows? How do you know that feathers don't have such a different microcosmic purpose? But we just came to the conclusion, right? Why do we have hairs on the top of our head? Think about it. Why is the hair there? Is it there as a way to make you look good, to keep your head warm? But do you go bald? Like, why do humans have hair on the top of their head? Why do we have eyebrows? Don't explain to me why the eyebrows are there and how it came. What is the purpose of eyebrows? What is the purpose? Like people say, okay, melanin is there to help people